What's up? This is Ron from StepWise Media, and what we're going to do is we're going to continue along with our tutorial series in how to set up your own version of MIT's App Inventor service. Now, if you remember, or if you've watched any of our previous tutorials, you know that MIT has taken over a Google project, formerly Google's App Inventor for the Android platform. Now, as of December 31st, Google has shut down that project and has pretty much given everything to MIT. It is open source, and MIT has developed some project files to allow you to run your own service. Now, in a couple of previous tutorials, we had discussed setting up your own build server, which has been one of the more difficult parts for people to grasp. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to do a complete build from start to finish, including the build server and deploying your project on Google's AppEngine, so that you can run your own version of App Inventor for Android. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the MIT website, and we're at appinventor.edu.mit.edu, and we're going to click the link that says Run Your Own App Inventor Service. And the distribution that we need is right up here, distributing the Java archive files. We're going to click that link, and a little bit later on in this tutorial, we're going to come back to the docs, which are read this document for further instructions. But for right now, what we're going to do is we're just going to download the App Inventor service. And you're just going to save that file to your desktop. Now I'm going to cancel this out because I have already actually installed this on my desktop as a zip file. And for right now, we're also going to need putty and AppEngine, and we'll get to that in just a few moments, but you're going to need those two pieces of software. And in your browser window, whichever browser you happen to be using, you're just going to type putty, and that will take you to the putty download screen. Now I'm using Windows, actually a Windows 7, and you cannot run the App Inventor build server on a Windows machine. There are some folks out there that are trying very hard to get this working on Windows, but you actually need to run your build server on a Linux platform or a Macintosh platform for right now. So we're going to bypass that. We're going to show you how to set up a build server and the App Inventor service with AppEngine all in one tutorial. But for right now, you're going to download putty. And if you're on Windows x86, you're going to download the putty executable, and you're also going to need to download AppEngine, which is right below that. So we've got those two pieces of software. Now this tutorial also assumes that you have an account with Amazon Web Services, and for right now, we're just going to log into our Amazon Web Services account. Now, if you don't have an account with Amazon, don't worry. It's, for the most part, free to sign up. You do need to have a credit card on file with Amazon, but as long as you follow the steps in the tutorial, it shouldn't cost you much more than an authorization of $1 or $2. So Amazon Web Services, you're going to sign up or sign in, as the case may be. Now, as it happens, I have an account with Amazon, so I'm just going to sign in. And I'm going to go to my management console. If you go to the upper right-hand corner, just go to AWS Management Console. And this is going to give you access to all your Amazon Web Services. We're going to be concerned with EC2 for right now because that is where our build server is going to be run from. And if this is entirely new to you, I would suggest that you go back. There's a couple tutorials that we had previous to this that actually walked you through the steps of setting up your own Amazon EC2 service. And what we did was we took that tutorial and we actually created a public image to make it very easy for other folks to launch instances. So we're going to go to, we're in our EC2 dashboard. we're going to click Launch Instance. And we're going to use the classic wizard. We're going to bypass the quick launch. We're going to use the classic wizard. And we're going to hit Continue. And this will give us access to all the server configurations that are available as machine images. And we're going to go to Community AMIs. And it's going to take a minute for Amazon to actually look through all the community machine images that have been pre-configured. But real quick, you're just going to type in StepWise Media. And hopefully that will load up in just a few moments here. And if you're not familiar with EC2, EC2 is basically an easy way to launch a virtual server with a pre-configured platform. For instance, if you had Linux, if you wanted to run Apache, if you wanted to run anything that involves either a Linux, Windows, any type of a platform that you could imagine, you can basically set that up with a machine image and then run it as a virtual server. Here's our image, and it's AMI 495-48420. We're just going to hit Select. And we want to launch one instance, and it's going to be a micro, a T1 micro. Now, if you do need more computing power, you can upgrade that, but it does cost more money. For right now, we're just going to leave that at T1 micro. Our availability zone, now I'm in the East Coast. Depending on where you are, this may come up with another list, but you're going to leave this with no preference. And you're just going to click Continue. So we've just accepted all the defaults. And again, we're going to accept all the defaults here and click Continue. And we're going to give our server a name. So it's going to be App Inventor Build Server. And we can copy and paste it into the value and click Continue. And if you have an existing key pair on Amazon EC2, you can use that key. For right now, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new key pair. And we're going to name this key My Very Newest Key. So my very newest key, I'm going to download that key pair to my machine. And it's going to give me a PEM file. And I'm going to save this file. And once that's complete, now it's going to ask us to set up or choose an existing security group. And to make this easy for anybody that's brand new at this, we're going to choose a new security group. And the new group name is going to be My Newest Group. And the group description is going to be Security Group. These are all kind of irrelevant values that you can put in. And then on top of this, we're going to add a custom TCP rule. We're going to open up port 9990, which is the default for App Inventor's build server. So we're going to add that rule. We're also going to open up SSH, which is how we're actually going to log into our server. And we're going to open up HTTP. So with those three things configured, port 9990, 22, and port 80, we're going to click Continue. And then we're going to click Launch. And EC2 is telling us that our instances are now launching. So basically what we've done is we've fired up a virtual server using a machine image that's already been pre-configured for you. Now this machine image is going to include the MIT build server files on top of JDK 6 update 30 from Oracle. So we're going to close this out, and we're going to take a look at our instances. Now if yours doesn't look exactly like this, I've got 3 instances running. One is firing up right now. But this is our newest group using my very newest key. It's initializing. If we hit refresh, it's going to take a couple of minutes to fire up. And now we're loaded up. So we can click on this instance, and we can see that this server has started. And we're going to grab the entire public DNS right down below here, public DNS. We're going to grab the entire thing, Control C, or right click and copy. And then I'm going to run back in my downloads real quick and grab our new key pair, which was my very newest key. We're going to drag that over to the desktop, and I'm going to open up PuttyGen because we need to convert our Amazon key into a key that Putty will recognize for us to log into our server. So we're going to run PuttyGen. We're going to go to File, Load Private Key. And from our desktop, we're going to select all files. And my very newest key, which is how we saved it from our Amazon service. Successfully imported foreign key. I'm going to click OK on this message. We're going to make sure that we have SSH1 checked. And we're going to click Save Private Key. And it's going to give us a dialog that says, do we want to save it without a passphrase? We can click Yes. And we've got to save this as a PPK file, so we're going to call it My Very Newest Key. But it will autosave as a PPK. And with that finished, we're going to open up Putty. And if you remember correctly, we copied our entire public DNS, so we're just going to paste that in our host name. Control V. Make sure that port 22 is selected. And under connection, SSH, auth, we're going to import our key in this little browse window at the bottom. So we're going to browse, and from the desktop we have this PPK file, my very newest key. We're going to import that, and from connection data we're going to type in EC2 user, and that gives us our auto login username, which is EC2 user by default because this is an Amazon Linux machine build. Click Open. And it comes up with a dialog that says the server's host key is not cached in the registry. At this point we're just going to click Yes. And now we are logged into our Amazon Linux build that we just fired up. Now to launch the build server, because the build server files are already pre-installed on this image, to launch the build server we've got to change directory. So we're going to type in CD, and we're just going to type in the first few letters of the directory we're switching to, so FOR, and then we're going to hit Tab. And that's basically a shortcut command for Windows command prompts, Linux command prompts. If you want to switch to a directory, type in the first few letters, hit Tab. It'll give me the directory name, and I'm going to click Enter. And you can see that I'm already switched into this new directory, which is for build server version 61, January 20th. Now at this point, I'm going to run one quick command, kill all, Java. And that's basically going to kill any running Java instances that may be running at this point. And it says no process killed. And then dot / launch hyphen build server. And it's going to give me a no hup. This really doesn't affect anything. But that no hup basically just says it's redirecting basically redirecting your error logs. Just hit enter. And what we've done now is fired up that build server, and we can test that by closing out our command window, clicking OK to close the session. And from our Amazon EC2 window, we're going to paste in the directory with a colon 9990 / build server / vars, and that will tell us that our build server has been fired up. We're running Sun on a Linux platform. We've had no build requests. We haven't built anything yet. And if we click Health, so we're just going to type in build server / health as our new web page, and we get this message that says OK. Our build server is up and running. Now we're going to need, to finish this out, we're going to need that public DNS, so I'm going to leave this window minimized but open for right now. And from our desktop, we're going to extract the App Inventor files that we downloaded previously from the App Inventor EDU website. So we're going to right click, extract all, and extract. And it's going to give me a message that I want to do this without encryption. Yes. Now at this point you should also be thinking about something to extract the files that are in our App Inventor folder, because there are a couple of Tgz files that we're going to need to extract further. So if you don't have an open source unzipping tool like WinZip or 7-Zip, you might need to download those at this point. I'm using 7-Zip. You can use pretty much whatever you want. We're going to open up this folder. And we've already set up the build server. The build server that we set up is built on this version 61 January 20th build. What we're going to do right now is we're going to take the App Inventor program files, App Inventor version 61 Tgz, and we're going to just slide that over to our desktop. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up 7-Zip. And I'm on the desktop. And I'm going to grab that App Inventor, and I'm going to extract it. And I'm going to click OK. And that's going to give me a new folder. And I'm going to navigate to that new folder that I just created, which is right here. and there's another folder inside that needs to be extracted, so we're going to extract that one as well. And we're going to close 7-zip up. And if we go to that folder, we started with App Inventor. We extracted it to this folder, and then we further extracted another folder, and that will contain files that say war, and then basically all your build files for your App Inventor service that you're going to host with Google's AppEngine. For right now, we're going to leave everything just the way it is, and we're going to go back, open up a new browser window, and we're going to go back to MIT's App Inventor. And the reason I'm doing this is because there's one extra file that we're going to need. Now we're going to click Read this document for further instructions. And this will bring us up to the official docs of MIT's App Inventor service. And the link that I'm looking for, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but we're going to need this file in just a few moments. As we scroll through the docs, we are going to be looking at roughly, section 3.7, uploading the App Inventor service. We're going to want to download this easy upload BAT file just to make our lives a little bit simpler. So we're going to save that file to the desktop or to your downloads folder, whichever. Now I've still got my App Inventor service open. I've navigated to all the directories, and I'm in the war directory. I'm going to go to my documents, my downloads, and I'm going to take that easy upload BAT file that we just downloaded, and I'm going to move it into the war directory. So as we navigate through this chain of folders, this is everything that we just extracted: App Inventor version 61, App Inventor, the war directory. There's my easy upload BAT. In this directory, we're going to need to make a couple of changes real quick. We're going to go to web-inf, and we're going to edit the whitelist file for right now. So we're going to open that up, and it's going to ask me what I want to open it up with. Any kind of a text editor. We'll use WordPad for right now. Here's WordPad. Click Open. And we're just going to take all these email addresses that are in there out, and you're going to want to make sure that if you don't have a Google account, that you use your Gmail or Google account email address. At the bare minimum, you want to add your own. So I'm going to add my own email address in here. And I can add another email address if I want to add someone else to the whitelist. And we're just going to save this file for right now. So we've saved our whitelist. And we're also going to be concerned with the AppEngine web XML file. Now, we're going to open that up with WordPad also, just to keep life simple. And about midway down the page where it says use whitelist, we're going to change that value to true. And the required terms of service we're going to leave at true. And at the build server host, you'll see where it has in here localhost :9990. We're going to want to paste in our Amazon build server host. So you're going to paste in your build server's host directory. So it's HTTP EC2. Now what we can do is we can actually take out that HTTP and just leave the host directory as it is, EC2-23, whichever. Yours is going to be slightly different as long as it points to port 9990. And the message of the day we're going to leave at 0. And we're going to save that. And we're going to move back up onto our desktop. We've just edited the AppEngine web XML file, set up our whitelist. And if we go back into the war directory, you're going to see that the easy upload bat is still there. We're going to leave that everything just the way that it is. And we're going to need to set up an app to point to our upcoming build. So we're going to go to Google App Engine. And if you don't have an account with Google, you're going to want to set one up, but we're going to go to Google App Engine. And first things first, you're going to need to download the Google AppEngine SDK for Java. So at the bottom middle of the page, Google AppEngine SDK for Java. Take a few moments to download that. Take you to another page. It's a zip file, 53.5 megs roughly. So you're going to want to save that file. And the reason we're doing this is because we're going to need that file in just a few moments. Now, once you've set up your Google account, you can log back into your account settings. And Google's changed their configuration. It used to be listed here. Just go to your previous version of Google account screen or go to the new version, whichever you choose. I already have an AppEngine account, and I'm just going to click My Applications. And I'm going to create an application. And this is going to be the application that's eventually going to become our App Inventor. running service. So I'm going to create an application. And at this point, you've got to give it a name. So I'm going to try StepWise and check availability. It's not available. So we're going to do Stu App Inventor. So STEW AppInventor.appspot.com. Check availability. It's available. And we're going to name our app Inventor for Android. And we're going to leave everything at the default. And we're just going to click Create Application. Very important that you remember the name of the application that you've created, because we're going to need to use that when we upload our files to Google's AppEngine. So with that done, we can go back into our Downloads folder. And we have our AppEngine Java SDK. You should have downloaded that from Google Code. That's the AppEngine SDK for Java. And you're going to take the time to extract that. And once it's extracted, you'll have the extracted AppEngine SDK. And we still have our App Inventor files from MIT opened. We have our Easy Upload BAT loaded into the war directory, or just under the war directory. We're going to open up our AppEngine SDK. And we're going to go into the bin folder. And we're going to grab this file called appconfig. And what we're going to do at this point now is we're going to take the easy way out, and we're going to use MIT's Easy Upload to send our App Inventor service to the application that we just created. So we're going to take that APP CFG file and we're going to drag it over until we see a plus sign that says Open with Easy Upload. And we're going to drop it. You're going to click Run. And a command window is going to open up, and it's going to ask us for our app ID. And if you remember correctly, we used Stu App Inventor. Click Enter. And it's going to take a couple of moments to read the configuration data. And it may also further ask you for a username and a password to log in if you haven't already logged in. And at this point, basically what is happening is that all the files that you've downloaded from MIT that you've extracted are being uploaded to your application that you're hosting with Google's AppEngine. So this is going to take a few minutes while it scans all the JSP and jar files, uploads them to Google's AppEngine, unpacks them, and puts them in the order that they have to be to run your App Inventor service. just a few seconds left. And now it's finished, and it's saying press any key to continue, so I'm just going to click enter, and this should close the command window out. And we can close pretty much everything on our desktop for right now. Don't need any of these anymore. Now, unless you want to change something, if you want to change some of the images that are in your AppEngine build file, if you wanted to change the build server that you're using, you're going to have to redeploy this. But as long as you keep everything from start to finish, you shouldn't have to re-upload anything to AppEngine. Now we're going to click My Account again. And go back to your Google account. Click on your applications. And you can see this Stu App Inventor has one running application. So we're going to go to the live version. Just click that arrow. And we're at StepWiseMedia.appspot.com, and this is going to be different depending on how you named your running instance with AppEngine. Click I accept the terms of service. And there we go. We have a running instance of App Inventor with a build server from start to finish. Now what we're going to do real quick is we're going to test and see if our build server can actually package an APK file. So we're going to set up a new application, and we're going to call it Hello World. Click OK. And this is going to open up a new App Inventor application. And we're going to change the name of screen 1 to Hello World. So screen 1 is now named Hello World. We're going to change the background color to black. And we're going to drag in a new label. And the background color on our label is also going to be black. And our text color is going to be white. And we're going to change the text to Hello World Android. So here's our basic Hello World app. Background image, screen name, text name. And just to test our build server, we're going to click Package for Phone. And this should create our APK file so that we can download and distribute our finished project files. So we're going to click Package for Phone, download to this computer. And because we set up a micro-tier instance with Amazon EC2, the packaging is excruciatingly slow. You can increase the computing power by switching your build to an enterprise build or a small build. But if we want to keep this thing completely free, we want to make sure that we have T1 Micro selected in our Amazon EC2, but it it does make the packaging that much slower. The other thing that you can do is in your App Inventor service is increase the build power on the AppEngine side. But again, that also involves a potential cost. And you'll see there's my APK file. I can save that file. And there you go. From start to finish, we have set up a build server, set up our App Inventor application, and completed a simple Hello World build.